Hello, everybody. We are back at it again, Autumn and I. Hello. uh,
Hi
we
guys.
we are live again on Monday, 9 p.m. Central Time, and talking about all fun stuff of architecture, life, or anything of our interest. And this week, we're slated to talk about D5 render. And to give you a little bit of a history, I have participated in when it was in sort of alpha, when it was before their even beta release. Therefore, I had some experience of it and I even made a video about it. However, I had not looked at it for a very, very long time. I believe I used it or launched it and given a spin of it a couple of times between then, but I haven't really fully seen the entire UI UX of interface of the software. I don't think I've given a solid try on any of my workflow. Therefore, I think it is long overdue that I give a test run and thought that might be a fun content. So why don't we just do it live and embarrass ourselves was or myself at least is the was the thought of this. Therefore, Autumn and I are gonna embarrass ourselves, looking like complete idiots here, and gonna try it for the first time and see what we can do with it. And this is sort of like a fresh look from uh, perhaps people who's a bit experienced in general in rendering and architectural modeling world, perhaps just not too familiar with that specific software, and we can set some expectations, perhaps a lot of questions, but I think it'll be fun to just, I don't know, try a few things with it. And if any of you have specific questions or perhaps answers for some of the things that I'm wondering, feel free to chat or leave comments so that I can learn later how this was supposed to be or how I was supposed to do certain things. That would be fantastic. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and share my screen so that you guys could see what is going on. And I have left one homework for Autumn this week was that you don't look at anything whatsoever regarding D5. The premises was that I wanted the most raw experience as possible. So I think you did a pretty good job. Is that right?
Yeah, come unprepared.
Okay, awesome. You're fully prepared in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a fairly simple SketchUp model. I use this tester as a tester for various type of modeling workflows, including renderings. Mind you, some of these assets are Enscape assets, and they're meant to look like real trees and real cars once they're in Enscape or some chaos softwares. However, they're never meant to be real looking or better looking in elsewhere because they don't usually utilize those assets. So just be mindful of that. But as far as all the modeling asset goes, here is sort of the pavilion and some trees and some people, that sort of things, and we're about to put this into D5 and see what it looks like. As far as the D5 goes, we as soon as you install it, you get these two set of buttons when it comes to the extension. I believe all of these have to be specific to D5 and how it syncs, and then how you can install or sorry put in lights within the scene. I don't think we're gonna get in depth into lights just yet, so perhaps we'll endeavor with these things here. But note that it is called D5 Live Sync. So it is not necessarily so. There is a bit of a distinction that I'm going to have to make because I'm coming from more of an Enscape or previously V-Ray or Lumion user, perhaps. Autumn yourself is more of a Lumion in general, so you're more of a Lumion user. So we're gonna, not hold ourselves from sort of thinking in comparison, but also understanding what are the distinctions or what are the differences in some of these tools that are available for us. And I'm going to flat out say here, I use whatever the tool that is best for the job or the task that I'm given with. Therefore, it is my duty also to learn all the tools that are available there and try to pick up which is maybe in order to validate whether that is a right tool for it or not. I need to understand what the software does. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So not that's not to say that is just not adequate for a certain type of test just yet without fully understanding what D5 does. So that's how we're kind of starting off here. I think the most obvious thing is to kind of click on this to connect to D5 render. The other tool tips kind of give me vibes of, okay, those are going to be useful if I'm trying to detail certain things out. Perhaps some settings here, the textures folders, I'm going to dedicate it to somewhere on the desktop so that we can easily access it for now, at least. And sync structure of light component, sync, sure, why not? So let's hit this button here and see what happens. Okay, D5 render
It's
is starting.
interesting that it has lights in here. So it looks like possibly you can't put your own lights in D5, like they have to be in SketchUp to work.
Perhaps, not sure.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure that you can put D5 lights in the project itself as well, but
Okay,
maybe it has an ability to
curious.
put it somewhere in the model so that it is relatively easier to position them. Because I feel like you should kind of have the lights within your model. Sync
Yeah.
local project versus new project. I think what it means is that use an existing project to put this project into versus starting a new project. So I'm going to start a new project. We're starting fresh here. So one,
Synchronizing.
yeah, synchronizing. The distinction that I also want to make is the fact that both Lumion and D5 are standalone software, meaning, where are you? Sorry. Uh, Whereas you can start D5 or Lumion on itself and then basically import all the assets of models like 3D geometry from different type of software and compile your own thing. Whereas in something like Enscape and V-Ray for the most part kind of works as a extension of your modeling software. So if you're in Revit, you're completely rely on what you have modeled on Revit to show on Enscape or V-Ray side. You can't really put things within their environment to influence the model. It doesn't work that way. And again, even for Lumion, for most part, and I understand D5 is the same, that if you put stuff inside of the renderer side, it doesn't influence the model. It only shows what's on the model onto the renderer side, and you just kind of compile the data together and collect those things. And that's how the standalone renderer is supposed to work because it has a benefit of being able to collect different type of information and put it in one place. Like let's say you have a building and then you also have all the context model and you perhaps have one room kitted out from different type of modelers and you can put all of those assets and you can get fantastic looking assets of trees, cars and whatnot from different websites and then just collect all of those models into one space of a render, and that makes perfect sense to do that on Lumion or and also D5 on standalone software. You can't really do that. You can't really import Revit stuff as easily onto SketchUp and expect to run an extension renderer in there. So there's a bit of a distinction, but I'm understanding that D5 is more of a standalone, and then you get to collect different information and make them look realistic and pretty and all that stuff for your visual representation. So that's what we're trying to achieve, at least when you're properly using this. So, beginner's guide. Quickly learn the interface. I think we're considered beginners at this point. So, there's going to be some tool here, selection tools. insert lights and stuff up here. So I guess you put lights here as well, and different sets of camera, and then you get display options, navigation options, and then you get to export images or videos and queue the render up here. Okay. What about next? Orbit is right click to around the center, so I guess the orbit, and then
Hmm.
hold the shift key to horizontal movement, and then fly mode, WASD for navigation, and then Q and E to be able to go up and down. I suppose that's only possible on a fly mode. When you're walking, you can't go up or down, is my expectation, because that's
Hmm.
pretty much the same on a lot of different type of software. And then we've got hold to rotate view in the fly mode, and then hold the middle mouse button, scroll to zoom. Quite a useful tool tips there. And then
Hmm.
open assets window, model, material, particle. So those things are going to be all up here on the top left. Different type of categories. Not sure if I see categories just yet, but there are layers here. Okay, so this is going to be completely separate window, open assets window, not necessarily what we're seeing here right now. And control brush to draw. So you can like brush to draw certain things. I would imagine something like scatter. You can scatter away your plantings and such. And you can control the brush sizes and all. And you're done. And you can spend your time on tutorial, help center, or forum to get more information. But we're just going to try it out.
Like we need more information.
Certainly, certainly. Okay, so this is what we are faced with. It looks pretty similar to what we were looking at. I think the first thing that I'm going to try to do is to dig this model out of this ground so that it is not grass or this ground seeping into my parking area, which was supposed to be like this. So I would expect to be able to click on it. And if I click on it, it's highlighting all the trees. So I'm gathering that it is able to select certain elements within the model. So it understands SketchUp pretty well there, which is useful.
Mhm.
Although I want to bring up the entire model up, and I'm gathering that there are some terrains here, and my model is bounded by this group here. So I select that, and then it highlighted the whole thing. I like how it highlights this thing because it's quite legible and easy to read. I'm not getting the gizmo to pull this up to move. Here it says move, and here it says scale, V for shortcut. But I'm not, even if I
Still
hit,
not popping up.
that's
Yeah.
not popping up. So it cycles through. So it is cycling through versus move, rotate. No, it's not doing anything. So I'm not sure whether I'm expected to drag this around. Uh, I'm not getting
Can you
that.
select it and move it? Does it? No, it's
It
just
is
your view.
selected. So if I hit this, it the black outline means it's highlighted. But I'm not getting like a gizmo for me to be able to move it up and down like how this is showing here. World coordinate system, material picker, camera, display settings. Option, light source. These are the different things that I can look inside. Fly is fine. But one thing I could tell is this one here. So location wise, you can move it X direction. You can drag this information, which is useful, just like how you do it on Photoshops and such. And then you can also move it on Z axis to pull this out. So it ultimately did achieve what I wanted. Not necessarily in the way that I expected to do, but you could rotate this way. I can't imagine why you would ever do that, but you would rotate this way if needed. So this is kind of useful in terms of assembling your model because you can have different type of models come from all different directions, and you collect your model here and assemble it all together, and being able to move and rotate in different way is obviously useful. um, Another thing that I want to kind of look at as we get closer here is that this is not really functionally not possible on standalone render type. But if you look, SketchUp has this sort of function, which I praise all the time and I really like, is that when you rotate these face me components, it kind of looks like she's one-legged person, but
It does.
once I point that out, so you can never unsee it. Anyways, this guy, as I rotate, or sorry, orbit around him, he never shows another side of him and always faces me, and that's called face me component, which is useful in terms of kind of slimming down your model size as well as looking conceptual, not necessarily all fully decked out realism here, which is something
He's
that I
always
promote. But here, because you've now have broken away being inside of SketchUp, you now move that model onto D5 side. So as you rotate around, it does not know which way it should look. The model is stationary, if you will. So I'm just telling you that is not available here, and it is almost functionally impossible when you're dealing with a standalone. And Lumion doesn't do this. Any other standalone renders do not do this, whereas something like Enscape or V-Ray will be able to do that. So just wanted to point that out. As far as the materiality goes, it had understood that this is reflective. And the way I done this was I named it as a pool. So whether it is picking up that word, and that's what Enscape does, it plays with the keyword, or maybe because it has a bit of a transparency, it already understood as like a glass-like material,
Mhm.
which is probably most more probable reason why this is reflective. So when something is reflective, it just keeps it as a glossy thing, which is a typical behavior of materials. Here, edit. And if I were to make it not transparent, I don't know if it syncs. Uh,
You have to reload it.
Synchronizing. I hit synchronizing.
Oh,
And
okay.
there you go.
Oh. Oh,
So,
that was fast.
yep. So you don't have to like wait for reload. It's kind of
Yeah.
like live sync of Lumion in that respect.
Hmm.
So on the background, it is sort of doing import and export, but that is fast rather
Hmm.
than something that you need to wait. There's a bit of a reflection, which I don't mind when I look at a material and it has a bit of a reflection. It's not really bad. And that's something that you need to be mindful of, especially in the areas like these grass that is looking somewhat satin. It's not reflective, it's more of satin. So how do we go about making that into grass? How about we
I was,
try
I
that?
was gonna say, it looks like water. I thought it was like really clear water where you can see the bottom of the pond.
Well, this one, yes. So, ooh, what did I just do? I just applied that material in there. Um, no, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, cancel. I'm gonna select this, and then what is this? Duplicate. Okay, I thought that was a material picker, but that's a duplicate. Sorry, I'm making fool out of myself here. Um, how do I go about? So there's a material picker. I'm gonna material pick this material. Let's see how I can make this one look like more of a water. Normally, these type of static pond, my preference is to just make it reflective and black glass like, and that is enough to make it look like water. I could 100% fool you by saying, okay, this is reflective, therefore it's water. And that's very convincing in my opinion. I don't think you'll ever need to make it like undulating water surface. I don't think that's necessary. So maybe we leave it at that. By the way, orbiting is the same as how you do it in SketchUp, and you hold down Shift key to pan around, which is quite a useful thing to do. You can also hold your right mouse button to orbit around, which is not a native thing for me to do. So I'm gonna have to get used to that if I were to do that. Anyways, let me pick this material perhaps to
Are you zooming in with your scroll? Is
yeah.
that what you're using?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever use your like
WASD.
ASD?
That is
Yeah.
not working at the moment. I'm thinking is because this navigation mode is orbit, fly, walk. If I'm in fly mode, yes,
Oh,
WASD
they
and
work.
up
Okay.
and down is fine. Walk mode, that kind of spins me into this eye level view so that I can,
Yeah.
and then I use my right mouse button to be able to look left and right. This is, I think, full on like FPS game mode where
Mm-hmm.
I feel more comfortable moving around. But you can also do the sky fly around and then elevate yourself if needed. I wonder
Yeah.
what happens if I'm in a walk mode and attempt to move up and down. By the
That's kind of
way,
nice though. I
yeah,
feel like
up and down is not like flying, but just going up and down in terms of eye height. So I guess, yeah, you're not really meant to have um, a lot of elevation when you're in walk mode. I don't imagine myself taller than 2 meters or anybody really. Yeah. So yeah, I guess in fly mode, you get to elevate yourself a lot quicker in more
a
flying
bird's eye
manner.
view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you make yourself faster or slower by holding down shift key, which is quite unusual, quite a usual ways to navigate. So I'm used to all of this navigation. Although I think E is lowering yourself and Q is um, elevating yourself here, which is a
Hmm.
reverse control to what I'm used to on Enscape side, which is not a big deal. You just have to test a few things out and being able to reverse your movement there. Um,
I
yeah,
really like the walk though. The walk's nice because sometimes I know I say if I'm in Lumion, I go crazy in the skies if I'm flying. And I mean, I'm like, oh, I just need to be like at eye level quickly. Just let me rock through eye level.
I for at least on Enscape side, you shift between walk and the fly mode. There's only two modes, and you
Mhm.
shift between that by hitting spacebar, which is useful.
Mhm.
So you hit spacebar once, and then you're in fly mode, and then you can fly around. However, but if you want to be like dropped into the floor for eye level view, then you can just hit spacebar. Or I guess in this case, you go into walk mode. That way, you
Mhm.
stay grounded even if you go
Yeah.
up the stairs and such. Only ones that are like really sloped or slight steps you are able to go up. Like notice how you are like going up and down here.
Hmm.
Although I'm getting my feet wet there. Yeah, and then there's like a collision detection, so you can't really move through objects. Even if I try to push, it doesn't do anything. Um, and same thing for. So one of the thing that Enscape has, whereas other these standalone renders don't have, is the fact that, well, not on SketchUp side, but at least on Revit side, when you have a door, you are able to push through the door and go through it. Whereas
Hmm.
other walls, you would not be able to walk through it. Meaning because render that's working inside of the model understands that it is a door, therefore you are able to push through. Whereas in here, you would not be able to because you're one in SketchUp and two, uh, it's just geometry, so it will prevent you. Even on these leaf, I can't go through it because it's preventing me from going through these objects. When you're in fly mode, you can go through, I believe. There you go. So
Oh
you just
wow.
have to switch between fly mode and walk mode in order for you to be able to move through objects.
Is this shortcut spacebar as well? Or do you have to keep clicking between them? Like
Um,
what's
didn't
the
it show
shortcut?
a shortcut? I believe it did tell me, but I did not. remember. I do not remember. Focus on drop vertically. I
Help.
help. Um, beginner's guide. I thought it told me. Um,
I didn't think I saw
sh- space to
like
slow
short
down. Huh. Space is slow down.
shift. Yeah, and that makes sense because I remember in Lumion, shift and
Shift is
space bar is what
faster,
makes,
but
yeah, and
space is slower?
slower.
I have
Yeah.
never. Oh, interesting. Control is even
Yeah.
faster in other rendering softwares, but here you stop, or I guess it does something else, therefore it stops. Shift is the fastest, I guess.
It's like
Interesting.
running.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, you can. Well, here at least I was just. Oh, wait.
Did you hover over it? Can you?
Yeah,
Oh,
Alt
Alt V.
V and Alt W. So Alt V, Alt W, and then orbit mode is Alt V,
Oh,
Alt V.
oh,
Orbit and fly are both Alt V.
she's back. Like you can toggle between them.
Okay, and then Alt W for walk mode. Okay, that way you can just like walk through. Ooh, I'm hitting glass.
You thought it was a
Wrong
door.
one. Yeah, wrong one. Surely don't know my model. Anyways, I was making you a little bit dizzy there. So I was let's attempt this again. So I'm gonna do material picker on this one and see how I can make it grass like. There are a couple of ways typically how grass is made. One is displacement. Two can be fur or strand, sometimes called.
Mm.
So I would imagine material template instead of custom, which I would imagine like a material that's coming from SketchUp side, it's custom. And then, oh, I have
What is it
water,
called?
car paint, cloth, foliage, grass. Let's see, grass. Okay,
Oh, that's cool. Oh,
that's
that's
that
nice.
was pretty easy. Let's do on the water
Yeah.
too. Let's see what happens.
Do you have multiple of that same tagged material? And does it change all of them? Because like your other grass doesn't look changed. Because I feel
Oh,
like in Lumion
yeah,
sometimes.
it's the material. I believe they're all the same though here. Let me see. If I sample
So
this, it's vegetation, grass, artificial. If I sample that, oh, it's grass one, grass three. I did a poor modeling job here. So let's see.
what
Can I?
about, yeah, back there?
Yeah, that one.
Grass.
Grass one. So if I change this one, I expect that one to change as well. Let's see.
Yeah. Let's see if
That
that doesn't.
one and then grass. Oh, okay. So anything with the same material tag, or sorry, material name, it'll
Mm-hmm.
be the same. Still in
Man,
fly. Okay.
sometimes I like that. Sometimes I don't though. Because I sometimes I don't remember
Yeah,
to change.
that's also a thing. Like I expected this to be more dense grass, and then that one is to be more of a ground cover. Therefore,
Mhm.
I needed to make that distinction. And I know for a fact that I kind of joked around saying, oh, yeah, it was kind of poor modeling or whatever. But the actual thought was I was going to do isolation of modeling practice of how to kind of scatter planting around this planter. Therefore, I needed that material to be separate from the rest because I needed that control. But again, yeah, like sometimes you prefer that, sometimes you don't. So that is completely, um, you know, up to exactly what you're trying to do at the moment. But I like this the fact that it has a orbit mode on top of fly and walk mode because this feels natural to my modeling kind of workflow inside of SketchUp.
Yeah.
Like my motion is fluid here, my muscle memory, you know. Although I have to pick this one. Let's make this one into grass, but also different type of grass. I saw a couple of other options. So that one, this one, It's
Is it
not
only six different options?
so
Or do they
far.
have?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you have more adjustability in terms of like heights and all, but let's hover over this and see. Looks, or it doesn't say necessarily like, but it's different type of grass
Mm. Yeah.
that's more wild looking.
Yeah. I like the other one.
Okay, why don't we make that one more wild and this one
Yeah.
more trimmed and groomed and
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Sophisticated.
More yeah, more well looked after because it's an immediate area around my property.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Can we make it lighter color? So this one, I would think. I mean, we're
It's
getting
the base color.
trim. What's trim? Not sure what it's doing.
I think it's making it shorter.
Is it? Because I would think this one is like taller because it's
Oh, that's
on.
making it taller. Yeah.
Yeah, that one is height is taller. Densify. I think those are pretty um, self-explanatory. Although here's a color. So if I were to try to make that lighter color,
Mm,
okay.
it's cool. It's
Oh,
easy.
these
That
two
was
are.
like,
Yeah, that was pretty easy, and I like the look of this. Um,
I do too.
yeah, it's
It's
for
got like motion to it. Feels like there's like motion to the grass versus it feel flat.
motion as in it's moving, or motion as in like liveness.
Like it's living. Yeah, like it's growing.
I think it's an artifact. These renderers, the function of rendering is that the light is always trying to travel through, and computers always calculating that, and because of that, there's a bit of like motion as you describe, and I think that's just a
Yeah.
function of that. But it does look quite realistic, I would say,
Mhm.
with very little effort, and the model is still snappy. It's because things can actually run sluggish when you start to put
Mhm.
these type of extra geometry or I guess complexity to the model. Um, whether this needs to be actually these pebbles that go on a roof or not, probably doesn't matter. But I'm just gonna try a few things. Some ground cover
Is there a
wax.
way to prevent how it lags? Or is that just,
What do you mean lag?
or maybe I misunderstood that, but when you're adding more assets to it or the textures, it starts to get slower.
Right. I mean that's a function of how well optimized or not on Modeler, and when Modeler, namely Lumion, is not well optimized and uses a lot of resource, then you've got to lower the quality of your viewer or just do a bit better janitorial work, what I say, of your model so that it reduces overall complexity of the model. Like I avoid using trees like this in my SketchUp because if I had
Yeah.
hundreds of these are going to be more complex than having these blobby trees. So
Hmm.
those are my thoughts when I'm putting those things in. Like it's actually important that I get this specific size and height on this, so I want more control. Therefore, I put these, but they can be replaced by some of the assets that are more well optimized. I got a question here actually in the chat. David Frick says, "This is these grass on the lower roof too. What is the green there? Lower roof. Oh yeah, I meant it to be a green roof or a little bit of that there. I guess that was M grass 03 is what I said. Why don't we put different type of field there? That's
It's
really
like it's like turf.
that's more
It's
like
fake.
turf. Am I picking the right one? Interesting. M3. Oh, Sorry, I was clicking on wrong one.
Final grass three.
Uh, that one is 03. That one is 01. 03. Oh, I know what this is. Okay. I was trying to trick other people. And actually, this, if we go, I guess this is more of a SketchUp tips and tricks. I tricked myself here. I remember what it is. If I go to monochrome, you see how that one is blue?
Hmm.
And that is because my default material is set to be the back surface is blue and front
Hmm.
surface is white. And when geometries are back face, meaning if reversed, if the face is reversed, showing the backside, modelers do not respond very well. And I guess this is the case. I actually did this intentionally to show how it can be troublesome later on. So you got to make sure your model is modeled properly so that when you have this thing reversed, then things can actually go haywire. So here, shaded with texture that is metal now, but let's actually apply
So did
grass.
you just repaint it to something completely different, or how? What did
No,
you just do?
I highlighted that surface, right click, and then
Yeah.
there's gonna be reverse faces.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So the texture we saw on the top is now
yeah, on the
underneath.
bottom. I
Gotcha.
mean,
Okay.
ideally, you wanna uh, put a default material on there so that the grass is no longer stuck on the other side, and then reverse
Hmm.
it. That's what I did there. Um, but for the demonstration, that's what I was trying to do. Let me apply this. Now, if we go back, I expect that to be a bit more plush.
The crazy grass. Yeah.
Yes. Thanks, David, for pointing that out. Otherwise, I would have missed my own trick there.
You fell for your own trick.
I know. Actually, yeah, let's actually make this metal panel too. Um, more metal panel. Can we make reflective? I don't want to do car paint. What do you think it's the right one here?
Mm,
Not skin, not
not transparent.
transparent. I mean, we can still start from custom, I would think. So specular reflection, or it is metallic. So one there. I heard metallic is either zero or one. Anywhere in between, it's possible, but usually not seen.
Mm.
AO, I'm assuming ambient occlusion. So in this
What's that?
case,
What does that mean? Ambient occlusion.
um, uh,
Pop
well,
quiz.
ambient occlusion is occluding the shadow there or light, and it is available on SketchUp. I was doing because I wanted to show my. It's usually best if you show it white against white on a different surface. Perhaps I don't have a good example. Usually, if you can see the connection between, well, I guess kind of there, but you see how
Like the
there's a
different
white,
surface?
yeah, when there is a different sides of the surface, when two surfaces
Hmm.
meet, inherently this is how light behaves. When the
Hmm.
surface is like if you stare at the junction between your wall and the ceiling, there's going to be a little bit of shadow line in between. That is actually
Yeah.
the physical properties of light, basically giving a little bit of shadow on the edge to for you to register as okay, that's a two surfaces at a different angle. And that's what
Yeah.
ambient occlusion does. And it's a physical property of the light. Whereas in a lot of these modelers, when white meets white, it's kind of hard to tell there is
Hmm.
actually a different angle of a surface that is meeting each other.
Yeah.
And you basically the outlines of SketchUp is kind of doing that for you. Let's say if you look at face style, monochrome, and if I turn off the edge, so I'm just kind of showing you what things would look like without ambient occlusion. It's hard to tell. It's hard to read geometry because you start to lose the defined edges of
Hmm.
things, especially when same materials are meeting the same material color. White is more specific, whereas if you turn on edges, things become more. This is more, I guess, bypass of the ambient occlusion. But SketchUp itself now has ambient occlusion, so you can
Hmm.
turn that off, edges off, and then you can turn on the ambient occlusion so that you get a
Oh, I
bit of a
see.
shadowing on the corners. So that's what ambient
Yeah.
occlusion is. And you can allow that on a specific material or not. Here, you don't have to. So I guess I can keep that as normal is the color. So I would think that is not necessary. Specular, I'm guessing specular reflection, but that's not doing anything. So I'm going to keep it 0. Roughness will usually play with the reflection. So if I make it more rough, it's going to become more satin,
Hmm.
non-reflective. Whereas if you reduce the roughness, I expect it to be reflection. So this is more like
The
mirror
mirror.
like. Yeah. So
Yeah.
roughness, you always play with it to give it the right amount. Probably 0 is never good unless it's literally a mirror.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the look that I'm going for. Um, unless this wood is polished, I wouldn't think it has that much of a reflection, but I can reduce it a little bit to give a little bit of gloss or glow on it. So you can start to play with these things like, is this
Yeah.
concrete polished or is it not? If it is polished, you reduce the roughness. So those are like the first things that you will do to kind of bring up your materiality up and down, uh, going from complete flat looking materials to a bit better looking, more realistic type of things. David asked
Yeah.
again, does this apply to all of the assets in the renderer? Is there a concept of final render where all complex assets are rendered at the highest fidelity? Will those people have faces at that point? I guess he's referring to like an assets that are in here as well as the people here. My intention for this model was never to be final fidelity or final highest fidelity. It was always meant to be more of a conceptual design model. I mean, this was a imaginary project that I made for myself to be able to test out a couple of new things that are happening on either SketchUp side or renderer side and that sort of thing. So it wasn't it wasn't ever meant to be final quality. But if there was a model, and as you uh, apply those more complex materiality, I would think they'll bring it up to more final fidelity. I mean, that's looking pretty realistic, I would say, when it met
Mhm.
the waters and the grass and some planters that are looking a little more realistic. It started to look really good there, and I kind of look like the overall look of this. It's very, very convincing, but I don't think it's not gonna paint any pictures to to these people here because it doesn't have that. Whereas yes, you can start to bring in the objects in here that you can replace them. You can basically get rid of some of these people inside of SketchUp and replace them and in the D5 with their own assets. I believe they have quite a large library also to be able to bring in those more realistic type of people in there. You can certainly do that. But I don't know. I like the idea of making everything look really realistic and then throw
Mhm.
in some of these white silhouetted people. I think it kind of gives a nice look for it. I don't know. I'm just so married to the silhouettes of people. So that's just a personal preference, but you can always, have your own little bit of touch. So I would think that's something I would do. Light. So let's see how emissive those things can be. Because I
Mhm.
saw the emissive function there. So turn on emissivity. That's already looking like light being turned on. So
Yeah.
that's nice.
Can you change it to night? Is there an easy way to go to like nighttime versus daytime?
I would think it will be in environment. And then, well, let's see. How about I'm going to snap this since D5 is doing pretty good job of. Oh, it does not snap. SketchUp snaps like that so that it's reduced to one side. I just realized D5 does not. I wonder if that's a function. Like you can bring it down, but it does not
Oh,
snap like regular window.
yeah. Interesting.
Uh, okay, that's a bummer. Okay, they are gonna um hide left sidebar. No, I want to show everything for now. Perspective. No,
Oh, I
interesting.
don't even, they don't have a parallel perspective? Or do they have it? Is it under the
It's
orthographic?
called 2 point perspective. That's more of a standard term. SketchUp has
Well,
that too.
because sometimes is it parallel? Parallel is the one that you see just straight,
Ortho.
like
Yeah, that's an
oh,
ortho. A parallel projection perspective, 2 point perspective. So you're looking for orthographic. It's the
is
same
it?
thing.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I feel like when I use like screenshots of elevations or anything to get to
Actually, well,
scale.
this one is just a camera view, meaning like top, bottom. But I don't think there's a 3D ortho. This is still, I would think. Oh, I can't orbit on those views, I guess. I can't rotate. You see how that's disabled?
Yeah,
So I can't just
gotta get
flip
out of it.
it. Huh, interesting. Orthographic perspective. Hmm. I know what you're talking about. Like when it doesn't have the angle of view.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. David says, thanks for the explanation. Enjoy your rendering. Thank you. Yeah, so let me. Well, what I was going to test out was to change the environment, not environment, sorry, shadows. It's weird that the time of the day is in a shadow setting. I pointed that out before, but if I change this, will it change on D5 side? No, it does not. Because if you were to turn on shadow on SketchUp side, it's gonna cast a shadow, and
Oh
if
wait.
it
Oh
changes time
yeah.
of the day there, it does on Enscape. However, it does not change on D5. I'm not. I'm just not seeing shadow in general. Oh, did it change?
I thought it might have changed. I thought I
Maybe I just
saw it.
maybe I just didn't see it, and I can't snap back. Sorry. Uh,
Take it back to day. I thought I saw the shadows happen more on the trees
did that move?
and and the cars.
Can I force it? Nope. That's early morning.
Mm.
Oh, it's thinking. My SketchUp's frozen.
Mm. Too many assets. Gotta clean up the model. It's making it slow.
No, it's not doing anything. So changing things on
Oh,
SketchUp side won't do anything for D5. But let's see. I would think your option for different time of the day is available here. Uh,
yeah.
that's intuitive. I would like something like that, but not as scaldy hot day. So how do I
Yeah, the dense
wait?
or
Do I
the clouds
reduce?
on
Do I bring up more clouds? No,
cloudy. Mm. What about the height? Maybe it's no, it might not be the height.
no. Um,
There are more options
weather,
below. Yeah, below the weather.
Milky Day.
Past shadow.
Now, is this a thing that
Mm.
you need to do on more of a rendering side, like set exposure and do filters, like how you do on Lumion, rather than trying to set specific, more of an effect or filter, rather than setting a specific look in terms of light quality?
For me.
Well, I'm asking. I'm
Mm.
guessing. I'm guessing.
I feel like, well, I use sun placement pretty heavily in my renders
Mm-hmm.
and like
I mean, placement wise, it
positioning.
is there. I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
like, I don't want as much contrast because the contrast makes it look
Mm,
like it is a blazing hot sun here.
yeah.
Whereas if I were to reduce the sun brightness or sun uh, intensity, then I would think it's not going to make it look like as a very, very hot day.
Yeah. Do they have filters or like, how you
Well,
do
they
like
have effects.
midday? Oh.
Okay, so effects will change
Oh.
the overall look, I would think.
Hmm.
Um, so this is how you would control, not necessarily sun brightness wise. You just change time of the day, whether it is a night or not. Well, that was
Hmm.
your initial question, right? Can you do night? Yes, you
Yeah.
can. And then when you want to reduce it from hot sun that is just blazing hot, then you go to effects, and then I would imagine you bring down the contrast a little bit, highlight a little bit less.
They have like Bloom as because if I'm thinking comparing it to Lumion, Bloom is is like a style
Bloom is a
that you can
style.
click.
Yeah, it is. It is just like blooming light. Like it's not as
Yeah.
hot bloom there, or lens
No,
flare, and you can add like God rays and whatnot. I like
but they
ambient
don't.
occlusion. Um,
Maybe I just don't
I
see it.
love
But like,
this. It has outline mode.
oh,
I will turn that on all the time. I'm so
yeah,
married
that's
to
nice.
that and ambient occlusion. But it's kind of funny that ambient occlusion turns it into like a clay mode.
Hmm. Sketchy.
That's not exactly what I would expect the ambient occlusion to do, but I still like the outline mode and also the fact that you are able to put in like different line thickness mode to make it conceptual
That's
rendering
cool.
of my favorite. I like the look of this. Like some realistic material, but also just hint of outline to make you feel like, oh, this is more of a concept rather than like a
Hmm.
finalized. I and it's a very slight touch of like stylistic choices. You know, even if you both drive one model to realistic and on Lumion and also D5 or different type of render, there's always going to be like a stylistic choice, the final render. There's going to be distinction between one render to the other. Like you can kind of look at it and like, oh, actually that's D5 or that's Lumion. There's always a bit of a stylistic choice. There's color science when when it comes to these imageries, but I personally prefer the look of Enscape. But this is, I would say, quite close to the look that I'm going for, because you can drive the realism if you wanted to, but you can also just leave it at very conceptual, similar to what basically SketchUp does,
Yeah.
but make the light quality more convincing than what SketchUp does. Because I ultimately what I want on render is that it's same thing as what SketchUp's doing, but a little bit better is what I'm trying to achieve through render. Because I'm never trying to go complete realism. But anyways, I'm
Yeah.
pleased to find the outline mode is just readily available with multiple different type of options here. Let's make it all funky with blue outline. I'm really just messing about here, but um, sorry,
That's cool.
I was
That's,
distracted.
I mean, helpful. It's
Yeah.
okay.
How do we make it not as blazing hot sun though?
That's why I was wondering if there's preset effects, like
Effects are
midday.
like LUTs, but no, I guess that's not the. Well, the auto exposure helped a little bit. I would think the contrast needs to be lower, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'm cost. Okay, there it is. So you can do geosky, but if
Mm-hmm.
you do custom, then you can reduce the sun brightness. Can I reset all of these values? Or do I have to go through all of them? Ah, because you know how I just dialed in values here, then
Yeah.
default, and I just had to remember what was the default.
Yeah.
Sorry, zero point 0.5. So like I dialed in bloom. Maybe I shouldn't have. Yeah, it's kind of bummer that I can't go back to the default value. In Photoshop, if you double click it, it goes back to default value. Anyways, um, exposure, and then I do custom sky, and I lower the sun intensity so it doesn't. It's not as much. Altitude.
Mm.
Well, that's altitude for, but still we get a very strong shadow. Can I do?
Mhm.
Okay, sun disk radius actually controls the sharpness of the shadow, so I would expect that to smooth out the
Mm.
shadow boundary, which is
A
more
little
preferable.
softer.
Yeah, softer.
Yeah.
Can I do like zero point 0.1? Okay.
That's nice.
Or you can just do custom nighttime. Oh, that's funny. You can do daytime and
Custom
a night mine
daytime and
together.
nighttime.
Caustics. Okay. I never understood
How
what
does that work
caustics.
though?
I don't know. What
Like having both day and night.
how
Is it maybe for a video? Can you video
maybe.
render here?
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
you
you have like,
can. I was wondering what caustics does. Enable caustics for sunlight, please. Activate internal first. Okay. That I don't know. Okay.
what's
Um
what is HDRI?
HDRI is like a high definition light image. So you can put a image, and then you can have the image based backdrop. The image will have like the sun spot. So you
Hmm.
can get different type of images from various websites and assign to it, and that works as your actual sun data or background image,
Oh
which
wow.
is usually not my preference, but that's necessary when you're trying to make it look like real image because you
Yeah.
want to have a proper backdrop of it. But I'm satisfied with either custom or geosky.
I like the shadows. I think the shadows look nice.
These,
Yeah.
I wonder.
Maybe if they weren't as harsh in the lines, they were a little softer.
Yeah, I like the custom aspect. I think this is closer to what I'm looking for, and perhaps I can add a bit more post processing of increasing exposure and then reducing highlights and bring up shadow. No, bring down shadow a little bit, contrast less a little bit. So you can play with the overall look
Hmm.
that you need. Hmm. Highlight local exposure. I wonder if you can save some of these because you ought to want the same thing that you've done before.
Yeah.
What does this button do? AI atmosphere match. So if you have an image,
Mm.
then it matches AI. I heard D5 has decent amount of AI built in terms of material creation, or I guess something like this. You have an image, and then you can do AI match, which is cool.
Mm.
I don't think
That is
I'm
cool.
I'm gonna be able to get into that much of a depth here, but and once you get something, AI post processing. Okay, first, well, I'm gonna. Why don't we do a little render of our result here? Image. Okay, you're bombarded with a lot of options here.
There's a lot. There's a lot of
16 by
areas.
9. It shows the frame, which is good. Image panorama, and again, you can do movie output. Since
Mm.
since you asked that there. Presets 1080p is gonna be fine for me. So 1920. Would that okay? There you go. And then render or add to render queue. So either you can render now or add it to the queue. Can I just render? Thank you. Image, PNG,
Does
calculate.
it save this view
Yeah.
or does it? Oh,
Oh.
okay. So
Oh,
it's
you mean
like
as
within
like
the
a snapshot?
yeah.
No. I bet you could save a camera position though. Let me try that afterwards.
Yeah, I'm curious because sometimes I need to just go back to the exact view and if just being able to click on it would be nice.
Personally, I prefer to just like snap away views, but
Mhm.
I understand that might be so viewport camera. Oh, wait, that's different from what we were seeing in the environment tab. Okay. So viewport here, you can set different exposure than your post processing. Interesting. And then depth of field, perspective, no ortho, 2 point perspective. How do you save a view? Maybe on the
Maybe
import.
layer.
No, layer?
Maybe not.
Delete. Create new scene.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, there you go. So you save this one view. You save maybe inside. That ought to save different type of exposure information and whatnot, I guess. And then I want this to be. I wonder what happens if I control things here versus in here.
That's
I
nice.
would think this information would go in there. And
Oh
then
yeah.
exposures, that's too dark. It's not working because I have this one sunlight intensity as. What I'm wondering is how much of this will change scene versus scene. Like scene remembers camera position and like the exposure
Mm,
thing, but would it actually change the sunlight intensity as I go from one scene to the other is a
yeah.
little bit unknown. So add this scene. So if I go back here, now it's.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Remember the custom environment
yeah.
settings. And if I
Wait,
go
what if
here,
you did scene two and then do another scene? So change it and then create another scene of this exact look so we can see if it changes like the light.
no, it did change. So if you look here, sunlight intensity, this one is 7.65, right? And then if I
Yeah.
go to the outside, the other one, this is going to drop to zero point 0.1.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it changes the environment data as you flip from one camera to the other. And also
That's
all the
good.
things that I had saved in here.
Mm.
Sorry, there's a person that I can't say the name of. Shuaib Research. Good to see that someone is doing this live rather than just making short video explanations. Well, yes, I thought it would be entertaining to see people struggle, and you're more than welcome to participate as well. Um, yeah. So you can flip between and expect the camera values as well as environment to stick around, which is good. Um,
Hmm.
why don't
Makes
we?
your process faster.
Yeah, yeah, and but I have to understand what values are going to stick versus change.
Hmm.
So assets. So browse, render ready, models, or materials. So since we had the question of people, why don't we try that? So these are the different materials that we can play with, not other than the custom. Sorry. So when we did the material picker here, we had some of the material templates, but other than that, if you were to look for something more realistic, they've got materials 2164 materials that are stone, marble, and whatnot. Let's look for some ground cover, shall we?
What did you highlight? Are we looking at as the
Stone.
road? This side. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
well, I mean, I don't know. What should we?
Mm. What about your pebbles on your roof?
Oh,
And
well,
are
that
there
needs to
those
be
were those
different.
pebbles?
That needs to be different material. Actually, those are pebbles. Oh, no, sorry, wrong place to assemble color. This one should be really.
Or gravel. Yeah.
Oh, the gravel. Okay, so let's do this. Sample that. That is still custom. If we were to look for material, pebbles or gravels, where would they be?
Mm, Probably with
Not
rock.
concrete. I want to look at what they have in concrete. They have different sets of concrete, which is also
Outdoor
this
ground,
building. Outdoor ground. Where do you see? Oh,
maybe.
nice. Well spotted. Um,
Cobble. Mm,
cobblestone, colored pebbles. That's what I'm looking for. All right, let's download it. Now, can I like, how do I apply
paint it.
this? Drag it? Oh, yep.
Mm,
It's a bit too big, I think.
yeah.
But
Can you scale it?
I'm sure I can scale it. Right, let's pick that. Displacement, um, scale. UV is map size. So I can do this. Oh, no, the other way. Here you go.
Hmm. When it repeats quite a bit, you can see like the.
Yeah, I heard that there's like an AI thing. I mean, it's seamless, but I can see the repetition.
Yeah.
AI generated texture map. Can I do that? I just hit AI. Unable to
Unable
recognize
to
base
register.
color texture. Oh, oh.
Mm.
I just wanted to randomize a little more. Maybe that's something that I can do later. If I had the bad material on it. I mean, it's not.
Wonder about. So we can look at the wood maybe. I feel like I use wood a lot, like in textures, and that would be.
Yeah, I hit AI. It's loading.
Mm.
Let's see if it can do a better job than what I did. I mean, it's not that different.
I don't know if I can even tell a difference.
I did undo.
Oh.
Whether it no, it wasn't really. I mean, granted, I spent quite a bit of time finding right material that I'm looking for, then just putting it wishy-washy. So yeah, they are
Yeah.
gonna look pretty good regardless. But um, yeah, you can use their material library if needed, such as these. Actually, why don't we look at the fabric here? I keep on hitting
Oh yeah.
B and trying to sample. They had fabric here, cloth. This scene here, make it a little bit brighter. I mean, I don't know how much that has changed, but make it different type of material. So leather. It was blue leather.
Hmm.
Crocodile. No, I like this one better. Brown square stitched
Stitched.
leather. And then if I highlight this
Yeah,
and
drag
hover
it.
over this, I just hover over and clicked.
Okay.
Like highlighted this and then hover over it. Oh, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it is tiled. So those are materials. How about models?
Hey, what
P
about like your trees? Can you
trees.
replace your trees?
I don't.
Or do you like the trees? You might like the trees.
I well,
The
I mean, we're trying different things, right? Trees, nature.
outdoor. Oh, yeah.
Uh, conifer trees.
Conifer?
Yeah,
That's what they,
yeah.
I've never heard that.
It's spiny trees.
Mm.
Probably can't say it right, but like the pine like trees. Pine
Oh,
is
gotcha.
pine trees are considered conifer. And what's oh they called it broadleaf. I think there is another word for broadleaf that I cannot remember right now. But
Mm.
trees don't
Isn't
necessarily
it?
look good, especially with the outline mode on. I wonder if that can be turned off for specific assets.
They have the
Oh,
gizmo
the
on
gizmo
those.
on these. Okay. Interesting. I
So
wonder.
there has to be for the full model.
Okay. Maybe it's elsewhere.
Like, is it? Mm,
It's. Oh, is it locked? Oh, okay. We
um,
figured it out after 1 hour and 15 minutes. We figured it out.
the gizmo.
Sorry. Wait, I am scaling it. How do I move it? That's move. Oh, there you go.
There.
Yay. We figured it out. We figured it out. How
But I
do I?
noticed your trees didn't move
Well, because there are
with it.
different. So my
Oh, they're
model,
not good.
it's not stuck on there. It's everything is a collection, which makes
Mm,
sense. You can
yeah.
lock it. You can turn it off. Um,
It's like Photoshop. It
yeah,
feels like Photoshop.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can put things in different layers. So, for example, like these are planters or trees, and put these into tree layer. I would think default layer into trees. That's intuitive. I never done this before, but I would have guessed that's the workflow.
Are we sure? Because that was
I
like,
mean, it's
I,
pretty standard, right? So this is the model layer and where my SketchUp model belongs to, and then there's a terrain layer. It's pretty given. I like the fact that it has a little icons that tells me what it is, but I also want to know how do I highlight this tree and make sure it doesn't do the edges. There must be.
wouldn't it be in the effect of it? Or does that just
I
go
think
back to,
effect, yeah, effect, environment effect. I think is more of a global thing
oh, okay.
because for
Oops, we
trees,
clicked
I
on it.
want to make sure the edges are turned off because otherwise it looks weird.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, duplicate. These are like how to make them. I'm not changing its value other than location, rotation. I would think some assets have the ability to change colors like cars and such, but this one is not presenting me options to turn off the edge other than just turning it off here altogether. Change width by distance. So if it's really far away, it's not as visible.
Mm,
That's not the way I want
yeah.
it to be.
But if you render it, it's different. Do you think?
I
Or do
don't
you think
know.
you'll see those? Mm.
But anyways, that probably doesn't matter for a lot of people. But trees look good,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not slowing my model down a whole lot. I wonder if there's like, I mean, if I had did a lot of collection here, there's like a way to swap one thing with other, replace from assets and all. But what I'm wondering is, can I do that within inside of SketchUp? Like this is includes inside of SketchUp, and these little planters are supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be replaced by, or this tree is supposed to be replaced by all the trees. So can I do that?
Mm. It's a great question.
Mm, let's see. It gets the plot thickens. You remember how at the very beginning I was able to select individual elements?
Well, I think it's go to if you go up at the left, do you have to toggle through your different tools? Like your oh no. It was like your select. Um,
I know, but what I'm thinking is at the very beginning, if I were to select
mhm.
something, it wasn't selecting the model; it was selecting elements inside.
Did you group it? Oh
No,
no,
I
you didn't
didn't.
group
I
it.
just import it. No, I just highlighted it. Filter, but that's a model. Oh, wait, maybe. Hold on. If I stop the sync, no, that's still the same. Sync. Here. Material picker, V, switch gizmos, shift, focus, control multiple selection. Model, focus on. Maybe that's to be seen later. I do want to put more assets on though. Let me go back to here. I mean, I really like the overall look, other than minus the
Yeah.
tree.
Get rid of the trees. I'm trying
um,
to think. It was very simple. It was like we couldn't figure out how to get all of it.
yeah, and then I had to click on
You
this.
had it locked at one point.
Yeah, but oh,
Oh,
you have to lock it. That
to be
makes
able to click all of them?
no, to be able to select individually.
Mm.
Interesting. Okay, I'm selecting the planter alone, but let's see. M trees. This is the material. Can I replace it? No, I can't right click it. This is all materiality, not. I think it's highlighting material because it cannot select the model because it's locked.
Hmm.
You see what I mean?
Mm. But
So,
before we were only doing texture before or material.
right. But here, if you unlock it, then you can select the model. But I can't select the model itself if I'm individually selecting these
Mm.
materials. So it's just automatically picking material as opposed to the model. So I think that's the confusion that we've had.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can't really individually select the things that are inside the model, unfortunately. So if you want to replace these planters, then I have to go here and then basically say goodbye to these and then come back here and then do the scatter and painting of the plants here,
Mm.
which is fine. It's just not perhaps what I wanted it to be.
It's forcing you to use their assets.
Now, can I like? I mean, I suppose I can do these placement.
What about that line? Because sometimes can't you just draw a line and it
Oh,
duplicates it up at the top, that second one?
okay. Let me undo. Okay, I this and then what? This path.
Yeah. Path tool.
These are animation, so you can
And then
set.
mine.
Yeah, brush, scatter. Oh no, I want it. Oh, these are scatterable. What are these? These are combinations.
Oh, go back and there was a path underneath the last one.
Yeah.
And then if you draw a line,
Hold on. Let me go back to the shrubs, the one that I downloaded, and then go to path. You click, click, nothing, click, click. Ooh,
oh, there we go.
deep. Okay.
Huh.
I just added too many. All right. Once I did that, can I have add more number? There you go. Okay. All right. That was much easier. So, I mean, that's what I anticipated to do here. So I set out one and I meant to array the whole darn thing down. So Why don't I do that? So I get here, say goodbye to that one, and then go here and pick this one. Download that. What was it? Here, path,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then click here. No, I need to highlight it again. Click. And just learning, and then I got four of them. Come out of this one, and then increase the number.
Okay.
That's intuitive.
Yeah.
And then if I were to select this and I can add randomization, random spacing a little bit more, less number, direction, rotation, random, ooh, no.
Mm.
Maybe a little bit. Um,
For this
size,
planter, yeah.
random size. So that adds a little bit of random
Or
direction.
like
That's what I'm looking for. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so there is a bit of variation in between. Good.
that's nice.
How come that has a huge amount of edge, whereas this one doesn't have edge? Do you see that?
Yeah, I can. Is it within?
This one
Hmm.
never has edge, whereas this one has edge. I guess that depends on the asset, perhaps. Hmm. Interesting. Is that a
Is it?
property? No property. Uh, whatever. I'll just turn that off. Anyways, okay. Go back here. That's gonna be turned on. So turn that off. Do I update it? Yeah, update. That way it sticks around. Okay, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Can I put in people and cars and call it a day?
Yeah.
All right. Nature, no nature. Vehicle,
Vehicle.
small size, aircraft.
Let's put a plane.
Don't mess up my model. No, small size. Um, I don't know. It looks like Tesla person's pavilion. So delete that car. Put that one right there. Oh, it has turning wheels. Cool. Okay, and then gizmos there. That wasn't hard at all.
Mm-mm.
And then I need to replace him. Bye bye. And then people. Vehicle. Characters, people?
Mm.
That's a lot of people. Business.
Oh, yeah.
Professionals.
They're very realistic.
Um, these are all construction folks. Sports, parent, child, business.
Casual. Could be casual.
All right, let's do casual person riding Tesla. Uh, I pick you, whoever you are. Casual men 219. Oh, he faces the right way.
It's perfect. He's on his way to his car.
He's already. Oh no, is he trying to steal? So he's
He's gonna
looking
take
around. He's
the
like,
EV.
is that going to be spinning the whole time? You see, this one has a bit more parameters. Like,
Hmm.
am I gonna have the driver inside? No. Dynamic? No. Thank you. Left hand drive?
Oh,
No, you. It is a left hand light. Turn on the light. Cool.
well, that's cool.
Yeah. And then color.
Wow. I really like that. I mean, I don't really do much with cars, but just to be able to customize it's pretty cool.
Yeah, Lumion can do that too. But my um, what I prefer here is that the quality is almost instant, whereas like
Mhm.
Lumion on your viewport, things look quite different to what your final render is going to be. But I like the
Yeah.
fact that you're seeing pretty good quality on your viewport and your machine's not like taken off.
Yeah.
So that's probably my biggest like distinction between. And
Hmm.
I like the viewport quality, and the images are looking to be somewhere that I want to be. So make into walk mode, and then eye level's a little too high. I'm not that tall. So somewhere like here. Perhaps I need to work on the trees a little bit. But that's what we were able to achieve within hour and 30 minutes. And
Yeah.
save that scene as you would always like to do. And then click on that, this, and then image. 1920 channels, and then render. This is a very unpopular opinion, but I like saving as a JPEG rather than PNG.
Why
I
is that?
A lot of people will shout at me for doing that, but I don't need all of this information. I just want to do like quick snapshots. I
Mm.
wonder if they have something like that. View tool, because yes, I do want like specific views often, but I like the non-proper, just a quick or grab of a snapshot. Some renders have that function, so I'm looking for that information, but it is not there. So I'm just gonna fine, and then we'll do PNG. Because once you do PNG, well, one, PNGs don't have as much of a image compression, so they are a little bit larger than JPEG, and um, this one apparently is saving all of these additional layers of material, and everything by default. Although I had all of those turned off,
Hmm.
and you know how the reason why it takes a bit of few moments for both this and Lumion is because it is rendering that many samples, like I don't know, 40, 80
Hmm.
shots, and then they are kind of blending them to reduce the amount of noises so that it looks final quality, which is good. You want to
Yeah.
be able to do that. But I also want sometimes quick snapshots. I don't want to wait 30 seconds for a render. I just want it to be quick. Like if it is as good as this shot that I'm seeing here, I'm often fine because all I'm trying to show is Tesla being in front of my building, and that's all I need to show. So
Yeah.
that's
You need a charger too. You're missing your
yeah.
charger for the car.
Sorry, he was just swinging by. Um, yeah, I wonder if that is something that uh, what is that? Local coordinate. Oh, different coordinates. Okay, so that was a quick view of the D5. I ought to save it so that maybe we continue someday.
Yeah.
D501.
Oh, can you pull up the rendering too? I just want to see kind of what it,
What rendering? Oh, yeah,
the one you
of
just rendered.
course. The one that I rendered. Uh,
Yeah.
so this
Like,
was what we did first time. It looks
yeah.
pretty much similar to what we had seen on the
Hmm.
screen, but a little bit more refined in terms of resolution. And this
Yeah.
is what I have for the one we just did.
Yeah. I like that though, because like you said in Lumion, sometimes you don't know what the final rendering is going to look like.
Yeah, which is often a guesswork. And
Yeah.
that sort of discrepancy always throws me off. And I appreciate how Enscape's pretty good with that, and some other renderers too. And apparently D5 as well. So, you can look at this, and it's already pretty good in terms of
Hmm.
the look that I'm going for. So I can render and expect that to look the same.
Yeah.
Honestly, what does AI processing do? AI processing. Please render an image first. Supports. Oh yeah, you are supposed to bring in something. Fine. Scene two. Sorry.
Hmm.
I wonder.
I'm curious.
I thought I was gonna load something, but it's asking me to render it. Interesting.
Oh,
I thought I was gonna like, select an image that I already rendered, but okay. So here, instead of closing, I have AI post processing. So would it do? Preview, source, task, preview, AI enhancer, AI style transfer, in painting, enhancer. Okay. What are
let's
you
see what
gonna
it does.
what what are you gonna do? I'm not sure what you're gonna do.
Curious what it's gonna enhance.
Yeah, because I don't know what to enhance either. I wonder if I should run that in different scene, not here. But also it does say beta. I don't expect great
Mhm.
things here.
It's in the works.
Yep. And taking a while as well.
Is beta an abbreviation for something?
Alpha, beta. It's just after alpha it's beta. And it's usually release. It's just pre-release is what, yeah. It's still waiting. Still waiting. Okay. Maybe it's gonna wait for a while. Close that. Interesting. AI post processing. But yeah, that's what we were able to achieve in a short bit. We got familiar with overall layout of things, which is nice.
Yeah.
There's still a bit of like add particles, scatter, manipulate terrain. I always have fun with this whenever I'm in Lumion as well. Just do a bit of a Sim City. Um, add lights, which we haven't touched on. We added the lights on the car, but
We did a missive too on the.
yeah, we just vastly looked at the exterior more so than
Mhm.
the interior. But
Yeah.
yeah, pretty good run with D5, and I think I'm gonna wrap up here. To talk about next week, we talked about potentially doing some Photoshop tips and tricks. Actually, these additional map that D5, for example, generated, all renders kind of do this. I don't know if you ever endeavored with these sort of things, but when you save with PNG, often renderers offer these type of weird looking images, and they are used
Mhm.
for doing post processing from Photoshop. So meaning because they have various type of information in the image with the contrast, you can do further processing on Photoshop with those type of information. So for example, these are telling you at what surface they are, so you can quickly distinguish one surface to the other in terms of where the surface is located. Normal, that's what normal means. And then often they have albedo, and then this is what the other one is. But you can use those type of information to have transparency and be able to clip out the sky if needed, that sort of thing. But I
Mm.
use this for material swapping. Since we've done like a conceptual rendering, what I was talking about was make all the whole scene into white, and then you just take out a bit to highlight certain aspects. And that's just like how here, like we had, well, for a short while we couldn't figure out still how to turn off edges on
Hmm.
certain type of aspects. So we can basically render one scene without edges and then one scene
Mm,
with the edges, and then just isolate one shrubs that are having problem with edges, and then just kind of paint away, or sorry, delete away those type of, so have a overlay, that sort of thing. So there are some workflows, and also how to make seamless texture. Yes, now we have these AI material generators that are really good at creating seamless material, and hopefully they do a good job. So far, we had some still issues with some repeated patterns, and how do you go about manually working so that it is not as repeated. Those type of things
hmm.
can be discussed on the Photoshop. So I'll think of some additional things to talk about there, but that's slated for next week. So
Perfect.
if anyone's interested in, please tune in. It will be 9 p.m. Central Time on Monday. Otherwise, I'll catch you on recording, and let's wrap up here. Thank you so much for watching, as always. If you have liked this content, please like and consider subscribing to my channel to continue watching these type of things every day on Monday with Autumn. Thank you, guys. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.